Facts Underground: How Israel is Using Antiquities to Preempt a Territorial Compromise in Jerusalem's Historic Basin. In 1995, a small excavation was initiated at a spring in the Palestinian village of Silwan, just outside the old city walls. The excavation was carried out by archaeologists from the Israel Antiquities Authority, a government body in charge with protecting the country's antiquities. The funder of this excavation was a private right-wing NGO called the Elad Foundation. But what started in the 1990s as a small-scale cooperation between an ideological group and a government authority has now evolved into a state policy of ideologically motivated archaeology. Today, Israel is pouring millions of shekels a year into excavations and development projects throughout the historic basin. This massive investment is driven by a policy intended to render the Old City area non-negotiable in any political solution for the city. So, how did we get here? At first, not everyone within the Israel Antiquities Authority, or the IAA, was pleased with the cooperation with Elad. Elad at the time was seen as a radical settlers group. In 1997, the Antiquities Authority's legal advisor, Yoram Barcela, characterized Elad as a private foundation whose actions in the recent past have been more than questionable when it comes to obeying the law. However, the IAA was not alone in making overtures towards Elad and its controversial agenda. The Israel Nature and Parks Authority, which is responsible for the management of the archaeological sites in the historic basin, did as well. In fact, in 1998, the Nature and Parks Authority thought it would be a good idea to let Elad manage the City of David Archaeological Park. At the time, public pressure prevented this from happening. The 1990s also saw a resumption of archaeological activities in the Western Wall tunnels under the auspices of the Western Wall Heritage Foundation. The inauguration of the new opening to the tunnels at the Via Dolorosa in the Muslim Quarter in 1996 resulted in violent protests and battles throughout the West Bank and Jerusalem. Tensions around the Temple Mount, Haram al-Sharif, flared up again in 1999 when the Waqf carried out renovation works on the Al-Marwani Mosque to build a prayer area using heavy machinery. Archaeologists agree that these renovations resulted in significant damage to antiquities, and right-wing Jewish groups responded with claims that the Waqf is unfit to manage the Temple Mount. In 2002, Elad received its first proper kosher stamp when the Israel Nature and Parks Authority contracted the foundation to manage the City of David Archaeological Park. Yet, within the Antiquities Authority, a number of archaeologists continue to question whether Elad's priorities were compatible with the authority's commitment to protect Jerusalem's antiquities. In an internal discussion from 2002, the director of the Antiquities Authority at the time, Shuka Dorfman, tried to ease these concerns, stating that, in the event that unique archaeological artifacts shall be discovered, construction will not be permitted at all. He was referring to the excavation site at the Givati parking lot at the entrance to the village of Silwan. At that same meeting, Dorfman also ruled out the possibility of excavating a tunnel from the City of David underneath the Old City walls, saying, "Creating a breach under the Old City wall will not be approved as a matter of principle." By 2005, the Antiquities Authority was working with Elad on at least 4 major excavation sites in Silwan, the City of David. The excavations at Ein al-Daraj Hagichon Spring, a preliminary excavation at the Givati parking lot just across from the Old City walls, an ancient pool bordering on Al-Bustan neighborhood, and an ancient Roman sewage tunnel running underneath Wadi Khirweh Road. 2005 was a decisive year for the historic basin. Ariel Sharon was the prime minister, and his government decided that to enhance the status of Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, it would allocate 60 million shekels a year over 8 years for the development of the historic basin. This was followed in 2013 with another 350 million shekels approved by Benjamin Netanyahu's government. It is not surprising that in 2005 to 2006, excavations in the Western Wall tunnels moved into high gear. The underground excavations extended westwards towards Hagai Al-Wad Street, beneath the residences of the Muslim Quarter, and comprised hundreds of square meters, becoming the largest archaeological tourism project in the Old City. Back in Silwan, a full-scale excavation at the Givati parking lot was launched in 2007. It was defined as a salvage excavation to prepare the area for a massive building project planned by the Elad Foundation. And then, in 2009, Elad was given permission to excavate an ancient sewage tunnel running underneath the old city wall. And the Antiquities Authority? Well, remember what its director said a few years earlier. It looks like even the firmest principles can be changed if necessary. The tunnel linking the Givati parking lot with the Davidson Center Archaeological Park at the foot of the walls of the Temple Mount Haram al-Sharif opened to the public in 2011. 2 years later, another tunnel excavation commenced on an ancient Roman road near the pool of Siloam. Once open to the public, tourists will be able to walk 200 meters from the pool of Siloam all the way to the Givati site. Meanwhile, big plans are underway for Givati. In 2012, Elad presented the plan for a 7-story, 16,000 square meters visitor center to be built on top of the Antiquities site. Known as the Kedem Center, the plan received the seal of approval by the Antiquities Authority and partnership with the Nature and Parks Authority. It is slated to feature Jerusalem's largest visitor center, a Bible museum, and a shopping mall. So, remember the position of the Israel Antiquities Authority regarding the Kedem Center? Well, that is long gone. In 2012, this was the Antiquities Authority's position. The Antiquities Authority, as a matter of principle and in practice, is in favor of the building plan and approves it as it is. In 2016, the Kedem Center was approved by the National Planning and Building Council. By the beginning of 2017, it's become clear that archaeological excavations and development work at sites linked to Jewish history have become key to realizing the vision for a united Jewish Jerusalem. The City of David Archaeological Park has expanded, and areas that were once open to the local Palestinian community are being fenced in and annexed to the park. The excavations at the ancient Roman road running under the homes of Palestinian residents in Silwan are proceeding rapidly. A section of this tunnel, dubbed the Pilgrim's Trail, was recently opened to the public. Pretty soon, tourists will be able to walk along the ancient Roman road all the way to the newly inaugurated Ritual Baths Trail near the southern wall of the Temple Mount Haram al-Sharif. The route is designed to reconstruct the path taken by Jewish pilgrims to the temple during the Second Temple period. In the future, the tunnel will also link up to the Western Wall tunnels. When this happens, visitors will be invited to walk all the way from the Pool of Siloam to the other end of the historic basin without encountering a single Palestinian or experiencing the city's rich and diverse cultural history. Anyone visiting these sites could be forgiven for concluding that the Palestinians lack historic rights in this city, whereas Israel, by virtue of the impressive traces left by generations of Jews who lived and worshipped in Jerusalem, is the only legitimate sovereign.